Bonjour, mon ami. Just let me get my radio guys going here and we're going to be all set. Okay, let's see. Yes, everything is running. Bonjour, mon ami. My name is Paul Killamere. This is Absolutely coming to you live from downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, in the studios of 4680Q Radio. If you haven't heard of them, check them out at 4680q.com. That's where the show is every Wednesday at noon, and we call it Absolutely. Of course, Absolutely. See, it says right there on the pen. When you got your name on a pen, you know it is official. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Really appreciate it. As you can see, my cohort, Jean-Louis Filion, is not here again today, so I'm running the whole show by myself, which isn't a problem. There's lots going on. There's lots we have to talk about. I got my Habs jersey on. See my nice Habsolutely. I don't know if you can see the back there. Absolutely Habs jersey on. And you say, why do you have number 22? See, I got number 22. Because that's the year we started Habsolutely, 2022, although it's a real tribute to our favorite Steve Shudd and, of course, Cole Caulfield before he paid honor to Johnny Gaudreau and took number 13. Okay. Oh, man, I'm so excited. I always get excited this time of year. We've got 2 days until the draft, which I'm beside myself. I love it. 2 days until the draft. And then after that, we have another 4 days until, let's see, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Another 4 days until free agent frenzy, they call it. And like the Habs are in a great, great position right now. And we are, as Hab fans, so happy right now because we're in a fantastic position. We've had, 33 draft picks over the last 3 years, 12 more this year. We have number 16 and 17. And we have options galore when it comes to those two draft picks. We can trade them. We can pick them. We can do whatever we want with them. I mean, we can bundle them up with our prospects. We have so many prospects. There's no limit on what Kent Hughes can do with our draft picks and our team this year. So I am so excited about what's going to happen. And I always tell everybody, A2, A2, A2. I keep saying it. And the reason I keep saying A2 is because expect the unexpected. And that's what makes it great to be a Habs fan right now. We don't know what Hughes is going to do. Oh, there's guys out there trying to predict everything. But you know what? At the end of the day, there's so many options available. And of course, we always have to remember that, along with the unexpected comes Hughes' plan for the future. He's not just looking at today or next year. He's looking at 5 years down the road. He's building for a dynasty. And we can see it happening right now. We can see it happening. We've got 5 core players that we're already working with. You know who they are. Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki, you have Slafkovsky, Lane Hudson, and who else is on there? Who's the fifth guy? Did I miss somebody? Yeah, Lane Hudson, Slafkovsky. That's 4 of them. Huh. Oh, jeez. That's bad. I thought we had 5, but we do have 5. We do have 5. I guarantee you. Oh, I know who it is. The guy that I forgot. Probably one of the keys to this whole thing, and that's Demidov. That's right. So there's our 5. Okay, there's our big 5. We got the big 5, and then we're going to build around that. There you go. So 2 days left till draft day. Exciting week to be a fan of the Montreal Canadiens. You can't keep up with the rumors, so I'm not even going to go through all the rumors and all that. I'll go through some names, but not a lot because you know what? We don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to wait for draft day. And the only thing I can say is that we need a second round center and we need a defenseman to replace Savard. We know that. So how it's going to play out and what's going to happen, we can't tell. We can't tell because if we go by Hughes' MO, well, what's going to happen is the 16th and 17th round pick, one of those two are going to be traded for a bona fide player, a player that's already in the NHL that we could pick up, who was a high draft pick in future years who never panned out or is unhappy where he is. And we'll bring him over to the Habs. and we've seen Kirby Doc and Newhook go that route. So that's one possibility. But if there's somebody good that they're looking for that's still available, they'll use the picks. There's some good players that are not drafted that high, but look really good for the Habs. Kind of fit into our groove. We'll talk about that later. So there's lots going on, and we can go through it all. And like I said, I've listened to probably half a dozen different shows about the Habs and who people think, and they're making all these predictions and all that. But I've learned over the years that it's hard to predict what Hughes is going to do. I expect the unexpected. When we think there's no move to be made, all of a sudden he makes a fantastic move for the team, and he got us to the Stanley Cup playoffs last year. That right there, for a lot of people, not for me, for a lot of people, was an unexpected benefit this year. Now, a lot of people were going, no. Oh, this is a live show. You hear it. Guys are crazy around here in the studio. But, you expect the unexpected. So last year we saw Drew Deeks jump in the pool on the Demidov pick. Yeah. He was so happy that we did take him. And right up until they said Demidov, some people weren't sure because of Russia, because of everything else. I mean, the exact same reason they passed on Mishkov, they took Demidov, right? So there's a couple of things going on here. So before we get into all that, let's get to John. Well, he's not here. Habs trivia. And Vinny Hudo, I stumped him last week. So this week's Habs trivia for all you Habs fans out there on this pre-draft Wednesday. Let's see if you can get this one. We all know a guy named Patrick Waugh, right? If you don't, stop the video right here, look up Patrick Waugh, and then come back. St. Patrick, if you will, because that's what we call them all the time. And the guy that's considered one of the best ever to guard the nets for the Habs. He won 2 Stanley Cups with the Habs. Some say single-handedly. Some make an argument for that. In 1986 and 1993, that's when he won them. Years where Habs were not expected to even come close to a Stanley Cup. We did it. Patrick Waugh was the big part of it. But one season was particularly special for Patrick. The year was 1988-89. We didn't win the Cup, but we did go to the finals against Calgary. Why was it special for St. Patrick? I'll give you some answers. He recorded the most shutouts of any goalie in the league. He not only received the Vezina, he also won the Hart Trophy. He went undefeated for the season at the Forum, where he had the most wins of any goaltender in the NHL that year. So what is it, my friends, my trivia friends? The season was 1988-89. Habs did make the playoffs and went to the finals against Calgary. But this season stood out for Patrick Waugh for one reason. He recorded the most shutouts of any goalie in the NHL in the league that year. He not only received the Vezina, he also won the Hart Trophy that year. He went undefeated for the season at the Forum that year, or he had the most wins of any goaltender in the NHL that year. So what is it out there? Vinny, what do you got? What do you got for me, Vinny? Got the answer to that one? What stood out for Patrick Waugh that year? We're going to give a couple TikToks here. You guys can leave your answers or your answers in the comments. Did you get it? Did you get it right? Did you get it wrong? Then he usually pauses the video and then he tries to figure out the answer and then rolls it to see what it says. But the correct answer to this trivia question is number 3. Patrick Waugh went undefeated for the season at home at the Forum in 1988-89. Never lost a game he played at the Forum. Unbelievable. That's unbelievable. That's crazy. Now, for the season, Patrick went 33, 5, and 6 with 4 shutouts. But on home ice, he was perfect, going 25, 0, and 4. Can you imagine? 25, 0, and 4. An amazing feat and a thrill for fans of Les Canadiens. In that season, Waugh also won the Vezina. Yeah, he didn't win the Hart. He didn't win the Vezina and the Hart, no. Gretzky won the Hart that year. And he took the Habs to the finals against the Calgary Flames, who came out on top, won the first Stanley Cup at the Forum, in a 4-2 win against the Habs. And I believe that's the only time the Habs have lost a cup at home. I think it's in history. Another interesting tidbit for you trivia people out there. Sonia Scurfield, team co-owner of the Calgary Flames, and Ralph Schofield's widow, had the distinction of being the first woman to have her name engraved on the Stanley Cup and the Grey Cup that year. So there she go. Her name's on the Grey Cup and the Stanley Cup. That's pretty cool, right? Oh, sorry. No, she was just described. She's the first woman on the Stanley Cup. Got that wrong. Another guy, Norman Kwong, who was a co-owner of the Calgary Stampeders football game and the Calgary Flames, he was one of the very few people that had his name inscribed on both the Stanley and Grey Cups. But Sonia Scurfield was the first woman who's had her name engraved on the Stanley Cup. So just a little couple tidbits there. Now, the other answers, of course, he recorded the most shutouts of any goalie in the league. Well, that year, the guy who had the most shutouts was Greg Millen of the St. Louis Blues with 6. And the most wins of any goaltender in the NHL, Mike Vernon of the Calgary Flames, he was in first with 37 wins that year. Patrick Waugh had 33. So there you go. St. Patrick, one of the greats. How lucky I was to be alive to watch this goaltender perform for his whole career. And it was a very, very sad day for me when that Mario Tremblay left him in, and I don't know why, for 11 goals. And 9 of the goals he was left in the nets for. And he finally came off the ice and he looked at, I think it was the president. Was it Ronald Corey? Is that his name? Yeah, something like that. And he said, I'll never play here again. This is my last game for the Canadiens, because he was embarrassed by Mario Tremblay. And that was it. They traded him to Colorado, and he won a couple Stanley Cups there. And the guy's just an amazing talent. And he's coaching the Islanders last year. I don't know if he's still coach or they got rid of him, but he was there last year. So there you go. That's it. That's, in addition to the Vezina, the guy never lost a game at home the whole season. Amazing, amazing. Okay, Vinny, I don't know if you got it or not, but there you go. There you go. St. Patrick, one of the greats. Okay, let's go to some of your comments now. And of course, Vinny Houdon always has comments. Now that the cup has been awarded, I'm anxiously waiting for something to happen big from our front office. Let's go Hughes and Gorton, make a big splash and do it soon, please. I'm sure a first and second round pick will be offered, plus a prospect to get us a good top 6 forward. We're all waiting. Kent, go Habs, go. And yeah, I don't know what he's going to do. He could do anything. I'm expecting him to make a trade before the trade, some kind of a trade before the draft, before Friday. I think he's going to either trade picks or make a move on something. That's his MO. I don't know if he will this year. I would say that he's looking for more immediate results from people. For example, he watched the Charlotte team beat the Laval team, actually, they got swept Laval. And in that regard, he's not looking towards any of the talent on Laval to come up next year. So we have to get some bona fide talent, a second line center and a defenseman for sure. So I'm tending to think he's going to move some picks for that kind of thing. I don't think he's going to move it for someone who might not play on the team for 2 or 3 years, unless there's somebody he can get that can step right up. But that's tough. That's tough when you don't have the first pick. So we'll see what happens. At Vinny Houdon, trivia question has me stumped. I have no idea. My guess is 14 goals. Am I right? Does Vinny have a horseshoe up his butt? Or even the tough trivia and has to guess? You got me. Well, I would have never guessed 16, he said when he saw the answer. Must have been in pre-TV days. Yes, it was, Vinny. It was in pre-TV days. It was in 1920 when the Habs scored 16 goals in one game. So that was when it happened. We asked how many, what is the highest amount of goals the Habs ever had in a game? 1920. I think they were against the Quebec Checkers or something like that. And they got 16 goals, and I think Newsy Lalonde had 4 of them. Newsy Lalonde was a big name back in the day. So, yeah, there you go, Vinny. I got you. See, sometimes I do get Vinny. Once in a while, I manage to get the best of Vinny. But overall, Vinny's a pretty sharp cookie. Let me put it that way. Especially when it comes to Habs trivia. So, now if you're a draft free agency junkie like me, this is going to be a great week for you. But you just have to beware of the crazy rumors, especially when it comes to the Habs. Everybody's coming to the Habs. The pundits always have this guy coming, that guy. Everybody's coming to the Habs. Nobody shows up. Right? We depend on usually depend on our prospects. But I think that this year is going to be a little bit different. We always talk about trading our draft picks, and case in point, there are big rumors that Chicago is looking to move their third pick. Now, that would be cool because Habs have everything to be involved in something like that. We have prospects, we have bona fide NHL players, and good first-round draft picks. So moving someone like Logan Mailloux, the 16th pick, and say a second rounder, they will work for the Blackhawks if we pick up, one big name off their roster. And Habs can move up to number 3 and get a good pick. Now, this scenario may not be enough, or Hughes thinks it's too much, right? Because Hughes is pretty stingy when it comes to his players. Although we always say there are no players that are really untouchable, we know our 5 core are basically untouchable. To pry a Nick Suzuki or Cole Caulfield or Slavkovsky away from our hands would be almost impossible. It would have to be such a tremendous talent that we just couldn't say no. So Hughes is out there doing stuff. He's looking right now. And we may be able to move up, number 4, number 5. I know there's other teams that are willing to work with the Habs to move them up in the draft if they're looking for a specific player, the Habs that is, including Buffalo and Seattle, who may be looking for a bona fide NHLer rather than a draft pick that they have to wait 2 or 3 years to develop. So they're not in the top rank of picking this year. They're what? I think Buffalo's 9th or something, and Seattle might be 7th or something like that. So it's not out of the question. The Habs may be able to work a deal with them with a couple of decent draft picks and a plethora of prospects waiting for the chance to play in the NHL. So one of those 2 teams might be their huckleberry, right? I mean, you never know. You never know. It might be their play. They may want something the Habs have, and Habs may be willing to part with it. But at the end of the day, if you look at the way Hughes and Gordon deal, I still expect a move before Friday. And I'm not the only one. I've heard a lot of people think that Hughes is going to make a move before Friday. And if not on the draft floor itself, we may see the Elfman get up there and say, "We have a trade. We have a trade." And then everybody boos them. and he announces the trade, and it could be the Montreal Canadiens move the first round pick with uh, a second round pick and a prospect to blah 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 for blah blah blah. So we have to watch the show from the Peacock Theater in Los Angeles. The action starts at 7 o'clock. I won't be missing it. And I think there's a lot of people are going to be watching this one because some teams are in there that, well, we expected to be there. But teams like Boston Bruins get a seventh pick. Be interesting to see who they take out of the mess, what they do with it, because they've got their own problems over there. So I'm looking to see what Montreal picks up. Now, if Hughes can't get the deal done, a trade, or to move those first two picks, then Habs will be relegated to jump in the free agency, which takes place on July 1st, because whatever he picks, he takes 16th and 17th if he can't make a deal, then they're probably not going to be NHL ready. So in that case, he may jump into the free agency market, something Hughes really, really doesn't do. You don't see him there bidding for players. You overpay for players at the free agent frenzy, and he's a frugal guy. He don't spend the money that he doesn't have to. He's got to get something really good for the money he spends, and sometimes the price is just too high to pay. But he's kind of in a jam because none of the prospects looked very good from Laval in the Charlotte Checkers sweep. They looked terrible, to be honest with you. None of them looked NHL ready that they could just step up and start playing in the NHL. So he might say, hey, this showed us exactly where we are with our players. I mean, they're good, but they're just not ready to take the next step. And in that regard, we have to pick up a center, a big center. The second line for Demidov and Laine was another problem. And then we have to pick up a defenseman. So we'll see what happens when it all washes out on Friday. But when push comes to shove, he knows what the Habs need, and he knows where he wants to go with what they need. It's only a matter of finding the right fit at the right price who can help the Habs progress this year. But we do want to progress this year, right? And we do want to give Demidov someone to play with on the second line. I mean, here's a guy who's going to be a superstar. He could be the Calder Award winner next year if we can find a center for him. And Laine actually plays hockey. And he's another problem, but that line is going to be pretty darn good if you ask me. And also, our power play is going to be really good next year. So if we can find a center, especially for that second line, I mean, we will have two really, really good lines, and then we fill in the third and fourth. And we'll talk about them a little bit later. Then we have to replace Savard, too. Now, you think Mayu's ready? Wow, I watched him. He's good, but is he NHL ready? Jeez, they got swept by the Hornets. He wasn't a factor, and you think he would be. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen in training camp and that, and if he's going to be able to make the step or not. I don't know. Maybe Hughes knows. I don't know. I can't make that prediction. So we'll have to wait. So if you can't make a deal, we have the 16th and 17th draft picks to consider. And there may be some diamonds in the rough still left by that time. So what will Hughes be looking for? Well, I would say he's going to be looking for size. That's what I think. One thing that we did recognize out of the playoff series against Washington, that we got pushed around a lot. Guys like Tom Wilson were skating around. And they were just kind of doing their own thing without being really challenged by anybody. Marty St. Louis, he's a peacenik, so he wouldn't put Jack Guy in the mix. And that hurt the team. Tom Wilson was just taking too many liberties, and so were the other players because they knew there was nobody to answer to. So I would say if he's looking for size, we can find someone like Radim Murka. He's 6'6" defenseman that could still be lurking around 16 or 17. He's predicted higher than that, but you never know. Quan Aitchison, he's another defenseman that's big. Jack Nesbitt, center. Logan Hessler's he's a defenseman, and Lyndon Lakovic, left wing. They're all huge players that also may be available at 16 or 17. They're in around that area for picks. So any one of those players would make a good pick probably for Hughes. He may be looking at, and I think Lyndon Lakovic would be fantastic. And also, Radom Murka, he's the one that probably won't be there. They picked him like 10th or 11th or something. So he might be lurking around if there's teams that want other things. But any one of these, Quan Aitchison, Jack Nesbitt, Logan Hessler, Lyndon Lakovic, all of them would work for Hughes probably. And I think anybody in the top 10 is kind of out of bounds. I think they'll be long gone by the time number 16 gets called. If Hughes has his eye on a player like Roger McQueen, ranked 9th, he's going to have to make a move. And the top 5: Schaefer, Misa, Martone, Frondel, and Denoyer, they're definitely out of the picture. They're going to be picked right where they should be, I think. I don't think we're going to see any big surprises in the top 5. So I don't know if there's any teams in the top 5 with top 5 picks that are willing to move down. I don't think they're willing to move down. I think the Islanders, the Sharks, the Blackhawks, Utah, Nashville pick in that order. And I think they're going to be HODL. They're going to be holding on for dear life to get one of these good guys. I don't think that they mind waiting. They're still in rebuilds. They're still looking for a path. And I don't think any of them are going to be worried about the here and now, which is what they would want to do if they're going to get a bona fide player. And in that case, that's the only thing they'll take for their good draft pick. So I don't think they're going to move down in the draft unless they get a big name. I don't think they're going to move anywhere. So I don't expect that to happen. So you can watch out for that scenario if you like, but I don't think so. Now, teams that pick 6 to 10, they're more likely to be open to move down a bit if they can grab a decent package in return for their pick. And, to give them number 16 and maybe a good prospect or two, that might work. 16, second round pick and a prospect, that might work. And they're going to include Philly, who's looking for more good players, Seattle, Buffalo, and Anaheim. And I would say the most likely one of those, or two of those anyway, would be Seattle and Buffalo. They may be willing to move down if you can give them a good package. And that all depends on what they're asking for. If they're getting ridiculous, nobody's going to work with them for that. I left out Boston in that mix because they were in there too, number 7, because I don't think they're going to be looking for bona fide players this year. I think they're on a rebuild and they're going to be looking for a really good draft pick, something they haven't had in a while. And I think they're going to stick with what they got. If they could, they'd move up, if anything, to get a better pick. So we'll see if that happens. But other than that, I think they're stuck at 7. That'll be it. And there's a couple other teams who may want to move with Montreal, but that's just conjecture. I have no idea if they would move some of these teams. I'm just thinking if anybody's gonna, they may want immediate players, NHL players. They don't want to wait for the development and everything else, so they're gonna be open to suggestions like that. We'll see. Bottom line is, if Hughes has options, and he does, and he can make a deal that suits him, and we've seen him do it before, he'll make a deal. I don't know if that's going to happen. We'll have to wait till Friday. I can't wait. So through all that draft, we're just going to have to wait 2 days and see what happens. Like I say, I anticipate him making a move before 7 o'clock on draft day on Friday. But that's just me. We'll see how it plays out. And then we're going to see how he picks up the draft. Okay, so I can't forget my housekeeping. Yes, I have housekeeping here to do while we're on the show. One of those bits of housekeeping is to sign Layden Hudson to an extension. And I know there's no rush to do it, but if we can get him signed to 8 years, kicks in next year because this is last year, I think, of a restricted free agency signed for this year. I think if we can sign him to a good extension right now, maybe 8 million a year for 8 years, we can give him 8 years. He might want a little bit more. It's the going price. What are you going to do? I think we can grab him if we can. Let's lock him up. Come on, let's lock him up. Let's make him one of our big five. Put him in play with Suzuki, Caulfield, Slavkovsky. And then we can turn to Demidov and make sure that he's going to be in the loop and he's going to be taken care of so he can win the Calder next year. Then we take a look at Liney. People are already saying, excuse me, this weather is just killing me. I've been coughing. My eyes are running here. I don't know what's in the air, but this hot, humid weather is stifling. It's stifling. So then we got Liney to deal with, and a lot of people are already saying to sign him to an extension. And I'm going, are you kidding me? Get rid of him. His contract runs out. Send him packing. I mean, look at it. He's getting 8.5 million this year. If he has a bang up year, tremendous year for the Habs, right? Are we going to want to sign him for another 8.5 million or more? Probably not. He'll be gone. Either way, he's gone. I don't want to sign him again. So play him out. See how long he plays this year, if he even plays half the season. The guy's got a bad record for playing games. And see what he does. I know everybody's always goal, power play goals. They're giving him credit for getting Montreal to the playoffs. And they're the same people who want to sign him long term or sign him for an extension or something. And I'm going, no. This guy, you don't. We said 2 years. That's enough. Get rid of him. I wouldn't sign him in any extension. I'd use him this year and get rid of him. But that's just me. And a lot of people say I'm not smart. So there you go. No, it's a big no for me. No extension. Let him play out his contract. If he has a good year, good for him. Let somebody else pick up the tab. And we can move on to our prospects. We have lots of them. We have guys who can put the puck in the net. And for everybody who says, without him, we wouldn't have made the playoffs. Hey, Cole Caulfield's goal production went down when he arrived because he was in that spot where Caulfield was scoring his goals on the power play. Now, was our power play better? Of course it was. Because you've got 2 or 3 threats on that power play, that number one power play. So, yeah, it's going to be better. And Liney's going to get opportunities like Cole Caulfield did on the left-hand side, right? So, I mean, Caulfield would have probably got a lot of those goals anyway. That's the way I look at it. So, is it great that we have him? Yes, but guess what? Guess who we have on our power play now? We have Demidov. We can get rid of Liney, throw Demidov in the same place, Caulfield on the left, Demidov on the right, and away we go. So, yeah, I'm not too worried about Liney. I wouldn't sign him. The other big talk now is Carey Price. Believe it or not, the big talk is ditching his contract, giving his contract over to a team like the San Jose Sharks, who might not reach the league minimum of $70 million. So they're going to need a player to get him to the minimum. He's got a year left on his contract, $10.5 million. It'd be nice to move that right now. Just give him to the Sharks. Here, take him. Take him. Give us a draft pick, anything. Trade him. Trade his contract. They can use it to reach the league minimum, and we can get him off our back, and then have $10.5 million more to spend instead of having to play games with the long-term injury reserve list and everything else, right? I'd like to see that happen as well if we could do it. We also have Heineman, Zeta, Vorak, Armia, Dobish, and Struble to deal with. Drobish and Struble being RFAs, so we got to deal with them at some level, or do we want to keep Struble? That's my thing. Are we going to sign him to a contract, a two-way contract, or what's going to happen with him? And the rest of the guys we have are UFAs: Heinemann, Pez, Dvorak, Armia, Dobish, and Struble. Except no, Dobish is an RFA. He's not a UFA. So that would be Heinemann, Pez, Dvorak, Armia, and Struble. Nope, not Struble neither. He's the RFA. They're the two RFAs. So, Heinemann, Pez, Dvorak, and Armia. That's it. And I don't care if they sign any of those guys if they're UFAs. It's sad we're going to lose them for nothing, but I really don't care unless they come in at a phenomenal deal, a bang up deal. If I was going to keep any of them, it'd be Heinemann. Heinemann for sure. I would offer him something to sign him, but the rest, the other three, I don't care about. I mean, the draft and the free agent frenzy is a little bit more sexy than all these other UFAs and RFAs. But they're business matters. They got to be taken care of. And it's going to be up to Hughes where he wants to go with this team. If he's going to move on from some of these guys and let some players up from Laval to start something in the NHL, or he's going to go with a little bit more experience and keep like guys like Armia who are good on the penalty kill with Evans and Dvorak, who was one of our better centers. Are we to keep him or deal him off? It's going to be interesting to see what he does with these players. Now, I want to throw this at you because you see all kinds of things on Facebook. So I was watching HABS for Live Drive 25, and I thought I would share it. It's totally intriguing. What do you think of this? Give me your opinion in the comments. Vinny, give me your opinion. Now, this is the lineup they dropped on Facebook. First line, Cole Caulfield, Suzuki, and Slavkovsky. Yes, check. Okay, that's good. Second line, Laine, Sidney Crosby, and Demidov. Now, how do you like that line for a second line? Would that not be something great? Third line, Gallagher, Evans, and Anderson. That makes sense. That's probably what we had this year, just about. And line number 4, and here's where it gets interesting. Crosby was big enough. That was a good enough one. But number 4, fourth line, Florian Jacki, Luke Touche, and Joshua Waugh. Now, how about that for a line? And Florian Jacki is one guy I'd like to see come up next year. I hope he has a great training camp and they keep him up. This guy's big. He's strong. He can score. He does it all. He would be a great addition to that fourth line. He'd be a great addition to it. So what that means, if you went with that line up there, you'd be getting rid of Dvorak, Armia, Pezzetta. They'd be gone. Heinemann would be floating. Sure. But they would be gone. And on defense, Hudson, Gooley, Matheson, Carrier, and Wi-Fi and Mayu. So he's bringing Mayu. These guys are bringing Mayu in too. So that's totally intriguing. Of course, even though I would love to have Crosby for the right price in that sense, that center, I mean, this guy's still got lots of play in him. I don't think we're getting Crosby. That's just my notion. I'd be extremely happy if we did. If we could get him for the right price, he'd be worth it. And on that fourth line, Touche and Joshua Waugh, I'd rather see Owen Beck. I'd rather see Owen Beck on that third line as a center, and Laurent Dauphin, who led the Rocket in goals and points there, than Luke Touche, and Ray. Or Joshua Waugh. That's what I'd rather see. I'd rather see that. Owen Beck, Dauphin, and in place of Touche, and Joshua Waugh. So I would swap them out on those picks that they made. And I think that that those two could be ready to make the step. Owen Beck has played good when he's come up. He's a center. He's played good. He's responsible, two-way player, 200-foot player. I don't mind him at all. And Dauphine led in scoring. So to have a scoring touch on the third and fourth line would be fantastic. So I think that would be a good line. I'm not sure about that one though. Florian, Tuch, and Joshua Waugh. I'd rather see Tuch and Joshua Waugh out of there for Beck and Dauphine with Florian Jacki, who would be great. So that's just the thing. What do you think of those lines, everybody? I don't know. I don't know if we'll see them, but that's what this drive for 25, Habs for Life drive for 25, uh, put up there. And I'm just thinking, well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. And this just goes back to the options we have. We have lots of options. I mean, you could plug Heineman in for Wah. You could plug Barre Boulet in for Wah. You could plug in Asas for Wah. So I mean, there's other choices, but these are the ones that they liked, and I just thought, well, we'll tell them to you and see what you think. I don't know. I don't know. And I doubt if we're going to get Crosby, so we have to find some another center for that second line. And I think that's going to come through. We're gonna make a move for that. I don't think it's going to come through our farm team. I don't think it's going to come through our farm team. If we can't find anybody, well, I mean, I don't know what we're going to do. We need a bona fide second line center. That's all there is to it. But Crosby, no, he's probably going to end his career in Pittsburgh where he started, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him. Stay where you are. Anybody who thinks he's coming to Habs land, well, that's a good fantasy, but I don't think it's going to happen. But like I say to everybody out there, A2A2. Expect the unexpected from Hughes. We'll know more by Friday, August, the draft day. And then we'll definitely know more by July 1st, free agent frenzy. So you got to tune in to celebrate the Habs and see what they're going to do for that. So I'm excited only because I am not anticipating anything at 16th or 17th. It's going to be a big surprise to me who they pick. I mean, there wasn't that many surprises when you're picking in the top five, but there's a lot of surprises when you get to 16 and 17, because at that point it's based on needs, not on getting particularly the best player available at that time. I mean, we've done that a lot of years now. We got a lot of prospects. We got a lot of guys working their way through the system, coming up and playing. So that game for us is kind of over right now. We have lots of picks this year, 12, second round, third round. We're trying to find those hidden gems. That's what they try to do. You find that hidden gem who's going to make it to the NHL and stay there. And they're out there, but they're tough to find. Every team's doing the same thing. Remember, every team wants to do the same thing. They want to find good players at a good price that can help out their team. And they're out there. It's just you got to work the deal. It's what you've got. And as far as I can see, out of all the teams in the NHL right now, the Habs are the ones that are holding all the cards. We have two great picks in the first round. We have second round, third round, fourth round picks. We have a ton of prospects in Laval that are going to be NHL ready. They might not be right this year coming up, but they're going to be good for any team that needs them. Now, I'm saying that because they may not make the Habs because we have a lot of prospects. But they may be good enough to make another team and make it to the NHL right away. I mean, Logan Mailloux definitely will, if not with the Habs, because we already got defensemen in that. If we don't bring him up or we pick up another big D, then basically, he could play in an NHL team. And I'm sure somebody would give him the chance. So we can bring him up, or we can leave him down and give him a chance with another team with a trade. We'll see what happens. So we're in a really good position, everybody. That's my bottom line. We're in a very, very good position. Kudos to Hughes and Gordon for putting us in this position. And I think you're going to see some exciting stuff come Friday. And next Tuesday, don't miss it because I know I'm not. And we're going to talk next Wednesday on Absolutely about what happened. And we're going to be celebrating. I'm sure we're going to be celebrating here. And then we're going to be waiting for August, September, and the season starts in October. My name is Paul K. Lemire. This is Absolutely. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you tuning in. Have a discussion with us. Leave comments in the comments section. Come on, discuss all this with us. Or am I full of crap? Do I have something? Am I right to not try to predict, or should I be trying to predict everything, which never works out for most part? Um, it doesn't matter. Whatever your comments are, we enjoy them. Thank you so much for getting involved, and subscribe to the channel. I see I've got views, 100 views, 100 this. Hey, listen, a lot of people who view the video, they don't subscribe. I don't know why. It's free. It doesn't cost you a dime. Subscribe to the channel. Help our algorithm. Help get the show out there more. Give us a like. Subscribe. Put the notification button on so that when I drop a show, and this show will be on by about 3 o'clock, when I drop a show, you'll know about it. That's it. It's free. We don't charge for this. How about that? That's fantastic. Have a great day, everybody. I can't wait for Friday and Tuesday. Go, Habs. Go. Au revoir. Enjoy the rest of your day. And man, we're going to be happy when I come back next Wednesday. I just know we will. Au revoir, mon ami. Au revoir.